Hey, yo, what's poppin'? You already know who it is. It's the man they call Con Artiste, and you are watching 4.5 Marks. Let's go!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to new episode 4.5 Marks. We have a discussion, which we haven't done one of these in a while. We're just going to discuss a couple things in the wrestling landscape. Now, you don't know what we're here to talk about.
No clue.
And I specifically did that for a reason, because I knew, A, that you could talk about it, and 2, I think it would just be fun. So, here's the question, or pose the question, is AEW as good as when it first started?
Oh, I think honestly at this point they've gotten better. I think so. I think they started strong.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there's things like like production wise that you can see now compared to how it is now that they've fixed here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I know when they first started they had like audio issues here, which they do here sometimes. It's just I don't know. Technology's weird.
Sure.
I can't blame anyone on that part. Unless you want to blame the tech guy, then blame him.
Blame the tech guy, yep.
Other than that, though, I think like they've gotten better as a whole. Like I think like their like product as a whole has gotten better, especially like with like wrestlers on the roster from where they started, of course. But other than that, I mean, I personally, that's just like what I think, you know.
Sure. Now, with that being said, let's go through some of the stuff with AEW. There is, of course, like there's been the complaint of like storytelling. Like you know, at the beginning it was very good. We had the big like storyline with Hangman trying to win the belt, and like that whole process through that took about 2 years for him to complete. And then to now, where now we get like a lot of stop and start stories. We get a lot of changes. Like a good example of this is like the MJF Adam Cole feud. Like this was supposed to, the feud was supposed to, like you know, injuries aside, the feud was supposed to elevate MJF into like a baby face. Adam Cole is a big heel, and now it's not. It's the reverse of that. Now MJF is still who he is. Which on a side tangent, like one complaint that he's just very like one-dimensional character, and then Adam Cole is now like they're trying to push him to be like one of the top guys. What do you say in terms of story?
I think in terms of like that storyline, of course, I don't think I think it would have ended up this way in the long run, just because MJF. Sure, he can pretend to be a babyface all he wants.
Yeah.
But that man is a heel till the day he dies. Like that man, that's just what he loves to do. Clearly, like that man. Oh my God! Like even like at like greeting meets, you know. Like recently, I saw a post where like some guy went to take a picture with him with a WWE belt, and he held it just by like a thing, and the guy took the picture, and then he said "boom" and he yeeted it, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean that's clearly like how he feels about that, but also that's just like he is always who he is.
Yeah.
And I think Adam Cole wouldn't be a heel because even after he came back, he cut that promo and he was like, I already knew who Max was. He's like, this like Max. There's no like way Max was gonna be the good guy in the end, you know.
Yeah. True. Fair.
Which is why he's like, I wanted to strike first. I wanted to do this, you know. Which that's understandable.
But in terms of comparison for the story, again, there are a lot of changes within that story. While we had like more of a consistent idea at the beginning of how the story was gonna turn out. Sure, they lengthened it, but like in terms of quality, what do you think?
Of like where it's at now.
Yeah, because I mean there was. Here, actually, go ahead.
I liked where it was because I mean I think everyone enjoyed it, having Adam and MJF being like best friends and they're like having each other's backs and whatnot. And at that point, Roddy was the bad guy.
Yep.
Which is cool. I like Mean Roderick Strong. I don't know. I think it's very interesting where it's at now. Like because where it was heading back then. I think, like I said, I think it would have ended up kind of similarly to where we are now. But I don't know. I guess it could have gone any like direction. I don't know. I think fans really enjoyed where it was. I think regardless, at the end, sure, like Adam Cole like did don the mask, the devil mask, and like turned on MJF and whatnot. But I think overall we would still have had like Adam Cole be the good guy and MJF would just be the bad guy regardless.
Okay. Now let's look at like the kind of the talent beforehand, right? Before like we had kind of some uniqueness in terms of like, Darby Allin. That was the first time we ever really saw him. Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, Marco Stunt. We had like Joey Janela, Sonny Kiss. Just different people. But now we're starting to see more of the same thing. We're seeing just a lot of luchadors and a lot of guys from Japan. It's we're seeing the same thing on the roster, while before we had more uniqueness to the roster.
Yeah, like there's like different like as everyone had like their own thing, their own style, But now, yeah, I mean they've had like a lot of luchadors, a lot of like New Japan guys have shown up, and they're all doing like their like strong style, whatnot, Which I still think is cool. I think it just really depends on like the audience. I know a lot of the audience for AEW are a lot of people that do watch New Japan and they watch like other promotions,
right?
Which is like their average. I wouldn't say average wrestling fan, because your average wrestling fan really only watches one promotion, which is WWE, which is fine. Like I'm cool with that. Like I grew up watching WWE. I like WWE.
Well, let's talk about WWE and like NXT. Before there was like AEW was brought up as an alternative to WWE, something different. And again, at the beginning it wasn't. But now, like WWE under Triple H has had more uniqueness, has had more of a bigger presentation, a stronger presentation. In terms of like WWE now and AEW now, the comparisons of story, the comparisons of talent, and just quality of matches, what do you think in terms of like which one's better?
I think like, they're clearly two different styles, because I'd say WWE they have their like their standard, what they're looking for, like even in ring, like storytelling wise, they know what they want. I think within AEW they, like I said, they give a little bit more creative freedom to their wrestlers, so they listen to what the wrestlers want to do. I think now with Triple H in control, he listens to what the wrestlers want to do as well. Because beforehand with Vince, it was always like what
Vince wanted to do.
And that was the big difference at that time between WWE and AEW. But now that Triple H is in control, they're doing a lot more. I think what they want to do, like recently with the NXT event, with when they did the ECW kind of like.
Oh yep.
There was a lot more like hardcore wrestling there, which is something we didn't get a lot of under Vince, because they wanted to be that more PG.
Yep.
Which is, I think, with what kind of like why I like kind of stopped watching it. I used to like watch it up until about like I want to say 2007.
Sure.
Was like what, WrestleMania 23?
Yep. That was.
I think that was like, I used to watch it around then. We used to watch like pay-per-views in high school, but I never like watched it on a weekly basis. I used to when I was younger, like middle school wise. But I don't know. It just, to me at least, it got just a little stale, because like stories would be pretty similar, everything like in the ring would be pretty much the same, like, and I was just like, it's cool watching like people grow and like climb the ladder, become different champions, but I just felt like I kind of like got tired of it,
Sure.
And then AEW became a thing, and it was a lot of new wrestlers, fresh faces I had never seen, because I, besides watching WWE, never watched anything else. And so AEW became a thing, and that expanded my, like wrestling wise, expanded like to different promotions. Like you just talked to me about like New Japan, and that you introduced me to that, and then that introduced me to like other like Japan promotions like DDT Pro and Noah and like, everyone else, like Stardom,
TJP, W.
like like just in general all these other promotions. And even like in the States, like we had AEW and then we had like Impact, who was TNA and then Impact, and now they're TNA again.
Yep.
And even now, like that we've gotten back into watching wrestling, like due to AEW. Now we go to our local shows, you know, like Magnum and stuff like that, which is cool. I'm glad like I got to expand, you know, like my knowledge of wrestling, watching like different promotions and whatnot.
Yep. You became Mark.
I became a true Mark.
A true Mark.
Which I just like wrestling. Like I don't get. I'm gonna get super like I don't like the tribalism in like the wrestling. Like I like all wrestling. Like I don't like how far into it is. I don't shit on WWE.
Yeah.
Like I like what they do. I think their product's good.
Yeah.
It's just like right now, it's just like I mean, it's still good. Like right now, it's really good.
Yeah.
Like after Triple H's got control,
it's hot.
It's really good. But like at the moment, I like AEW. Like I don't. Sure, like there's storylines here, there fall off here. It's usually due to injuries. They have to like replace someone,
right?
Which it happens, you know. But like as long as you're watching, you keep along with it. Like you'll know what's happening. People always get confused. They go, "Where's the storyline?" I was like, "Have you not been like watching? Like hello." It's I don't know. I think they keep it pretty simple. Like if you watch it, you'll know what's happening. I don't know. I see a lot of people just like talk the smack they talk, you know. On it. But like it's just wrestling. You know, you watch it, you understand what's happening. And if you don't watch it, you don't know what's happening. You know, it's just.
So let's take some other like of the complaints that we've heard from AEW, right? So one of them is Jericho. Like at the beginning, he was world champion. He was there to elevate talent, and he did a good job. Like his matches with Jungle Boy, with Scorpio Sky, like those were all really good. With like Darby Allin, like building up those like the younger, fresh faces, MJF, they were all really good. And then now, the quality, I don't know, it's not really there. And then as well as like it doesn't really seem that he's putting anybody over. You know, even though like Scorpio Sky, like lost the match for the World Heavyweight title against him, he looked good in doing it. Leading up to it, he looked good. Same thing with Jungle Boy. Same thing with Darby. But now, like
no, I feel the same way. Like, sure, I like Chris Jericho. Sure, he's like a wrestling legend.
Yeah.
I feel like at this point he should probably be written off of TV because like they could put anyone else in that spot. You know?
Right.
I just feel like sure they want to push like some storyline. They want to put like some because right now he's like Ring of Honor champion. Yeah. So sure I get they want to put like someone big in that spot, but like there's so many other names you could put there.
There is.
So like I see what everyone else is saying. Like I agree with that. Sure. I mean I think the learning tree is funny and like. It's just a new character. He wanted to like reinvent himself, which is what he does.
That's what he does.
And at the same time, like, but they're like in that group, he's putting over like has Brian Keith, he has Big Bill. Yeah. Like they're getting like good TV time on those guys. Like
that's true.
I like seeing them on TV. They're good in what they do in their matches. Like recently, they just had like what is it? It's like that ladder match. They call it like
which one?
It was like a 6-man. They had like a 6-man like what is the name? Something of War. Like
I can't.
It's like an old like they did it a lot I think in like Ring of Honor, which is why they did it. Because Mark Briscoe was in it. They had Kyle Riley.
Was it just ladder war or something?
Something like that. Yeah, but they just had like it wasn't even like a ladder match. It was literally just like weapons everywhere, you know, just like 6-man chaos. Which is all fun and cool. But honestly, that happened recently. I think Ishii got the pin on Jericho. Because they're pushing for Ishii to face Jericho for the Ring of Honor belt.
Gotcha.
Which I think is cool. I think if Ishii got that belt.
But again, like, does Ishii need it?
No, but he is like another big guy that like that man could put anyone else over, you know.
Sure. And so let's move on to another topic. With talking about Ishii in Japan, there's the complaints of like what they're doing with Okada and Ospreay and Jay White about how these guys like were top tier talent in New Japan and now they kind of seem like second or third tier in AEW. It's like they've diminished a bit. Same, and you can kind of hear about this beforehand with Kenny and how Kenny wasn't as good in AEW as he was in Japan.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's just like, I don't know. It comes with like the territory of not being in like a different promotion and
Sure.
working with different talent who like people who've like not worked with before here and there. You know, I I get like people saying that like they've diminished, but I personally don't see it because like Will Ospreay just had like the international title.
Yeah.
Oh, blanking.
Jay White.
Jay White is literally about to face Hangman Page, who was on a tear against Sir Strickland.
Yep.
Who just had that crazy they had that crazy match.
Yeah.
But Hangman's been on a tear right now because he's on a fucking mean streak, running house. And that match, that Jay White match, him and Hangman, that's gonna be a good match. I'm saying it right now. I think that match is gonna be really good. That's gonna happen at Full Gear.
Okay.
That's later this month. And then what? Okada, who is still. What, he's the intercontinental, not inter.
It's the Continental Belt or
the
Continental Classic.
Well, the Continental Classic's the
tournament. So,
it's
but
the Continental. Is it the Continental Belt?
yeah, I think it's just Continental.
I thought there was like another word, but I don't know. Continental Champion.
Yep.
Which I think is cool. I think it's a cool like designed belt. You know. It's,
Yeah.
But I mean, it gives him. You know, they put him on TV. He gets to face whoever he wants, basically, because people will challenge him for that belt. But I think it just gives him, you know, more to do, more to like people to like, you know, face, just get to, you know, put his work out there, you know.
Yeah.
Because I think Okada's still a good wrestler. Like you see any of these guys in the ring, they're all gonna put on a good match.
Sure.
So like I don't think like their like star power has diminished at all. I think just depending on where they are storyline wise or like who they're gonna be against or for like what is what people think diminishes that.
So let's move into this in terms of like championships, right? Mm-hmm. It made sense for Jericho to be the first AEW champion. Mm-hmm. It made, you know, sort of sense for Jon Moxley to beat him, and then Kenny, absolutely, mm-hmm. Hangman, absolutely. Then you had Punk win it. And that didn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, that one I don't.
And then not just that issue, but then there's also like it's taken about 5 years for any of like the like for majority of like the homegrown talent to win like a more major title. Like Jack Perry just won the he was tag champions, but he just won the TNT belt. That was his first singles, mm-hmm. And then Mark Quinn Private Party just won the tag belts. Mm-hmm. When ideally maybe they should have won it sooner. And then like Darby, I think 3-time TNT champion, which you know that he really made a name for himself with that belt. Mm-hmm. Sammy Guevara, I think also 3-time champion.
I believe so.
Yeah. MJF, heavyweight champion and American champion. American champion. And then I'll try to think who's the fourth pillar in this.
Britt Baker, right? No, it's Sammy.
Jack. And Jack. Yeah, now we mentioned about him.
Yeah.
So, really, like MJF's the only one to win like the world title, and it no one else has in this time frame.
I think that just attributes to how much work he puts in, even like on the mic, like not even just in the ring, because. Everyone says it, like MJF doesn't wrestle that much, mm-hmm. But every time he's in the ring, like all his matches, like they're like good, Like you're never gonna say like MJF that match was bad with MJF, and like that dog collar match with Punk, crazy good match. He had that match with Kenny on Collision, with Kenny Omega, right before he like opted out for like surgery and everything.
Yep.
That match was crazy good, and even after that match, like. After the show was done, there's a video of Kenny cutting a promo on him about MJF and like how he's the future of like AEW, which is like true. Like he's a young guy. He is still he's had like the main belt here or there. I don't think it'll be the last time for sure.
Sure. Okay.
And then of course with everyone else, I could see at some point. I hope Darby gets the heavyweight championship. I think. Darby, like at this point, deserves it. You know, he's had the TNT belt multiple times. He's been in like giant storylines. Teamed up with Sting.
Yeah.
Won tag team titles with Sting.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah, they beat the Young Bucks. And that was what at All In. That was in like London, like a year or two ago.
Was that London? I thought it was a Revolution. Or is that when they lost the belt?
I think that's when they lost it.
I can't remember.
I don't remember either. It's been a long year.
Yeah. And we watched a lot of wrestling.
We watched too much wrestling.
No, there's never too much wrestling.
There's just a lot to keep up with.
There is a lot to keep up with. That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's it. So I guess final notes, final decision.
I mean, what do you think? Anything? You have any thoughts on any of that you've just asked me?
I mean, in terms of like, is AEW as good as it was before?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do miss the variance in talent because, like, to your point on it, where it's like, yeah, there are a lot of people who watch AEW, watch New Japan, watch like the Mexican promotions, and it's like, I'll just watch that when I want to watch it. I want to see something different. Like, I love New Japan, I absolutely do, but I like the way that New Japan does it, and not necessarily AEW trying to do New Japan style in a sense, if that makes sense. So,
I think that's the difference too, because like not every single match is gonna be like a New Japan style match. You know?
Yeah.
It just depends on who they have in that match, because like when we went to Dynamite and Shota came out.
Yeah.
That was
crazy.
I think that was on Rampage actually.
Yeah, that was on Rampage.
But that was crazy regardless. Like I
watched Time Cop.
Watch Time Cop.
Yeah.
I was like not expecting that. That got everyone, dude. That was crazy.
Yeah, I popped for Shota because I'm a big, ever since like he started that storyline with Jon Moxley like way back in like 2019 or 2018, like I just became a fan of his. But and he's the future of Japan. But we're not talking about that. So in terms of like Okada and Ospreay and Jay White, I do think they've been diminished a bit. Because, like, yes, like, I understand, like, you gotta, with Okada, on his debut match, he won that Continental title off of Eddie Kingston. And, you know, but he hasn't really defended it a whole lot. And then he has this, fun gimmick or whatever.
Yeah, he's defended a couple of times. His last defense was against Bryan Danielson, but that was because Bryan Danielson was defending his world title at the same time.
Yeah, and which was a weird stipulation.
Because it was that his belt was on the line for the first, 20 minutes?
20 minutes, yeah.
And after that, it was only for the World Championship.
Correct.
Which, I mean, is interesting in its own right. Which it just brings its own little, like, twist into, like, the match.
Yeah.
Which is, like, you don't see that very often.
You
so
don't.
I thought it was, like, cool. You know, I was kept it. You know, I'm not going to be, like, that's stupid. You know, like, why would I say that? Like, you know.
Sure.
I enjoy wrestling. I like watching, like, in-ring, you know.
I love watching wrestling. I love wrestling. It's why we have 4.5 marks. It's why we do this. It's why we go to all these shows. It's just like, you know, there as a fan, no matter what you're watching, no matter where you go, there's going to be things that you may not be happy with or that you disagree with. And that's fine.
Yeah, and that's fine. And the thing is, there's always other
things,
other promotions to watch. Like there's always going to be different, like, wrestlers. There's going to be, like, different scenarios, different storylines, like, everywhere you watch.
You can watch the same wrestler elsewhere, you know?
Yeah.
I
think that's the coolest part about wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, say you have a wrestler you like to watch, maybe they're on, like, other different promotions,
like,
you know?
Like, again, there's a lot of wrestling, like, we just talked about, like, AEW, like, Konosuke, right? Mm-hmm. We watched Maple Leaf Wrestling.
Yeah, and he defended his title.
Against, like, Josh Alexander and Mike Bailey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that match was for the belt.
Well, either way, he faced Mike Bailey.
He faced Mike Bailey. And that's a matchup I didn't think was going to happen.
Yeah.
Guess what? It happened, and that match was awesome,
great,
honestly.
yeah.
Like, that was a crazy match.
So, in short, like, I do miss the mix of styles, and I do miss, like, some of the, I guess, kind of openness that they had in, like, year 2, like, where it was like, oh, this is big shock. Like, Kenta's here with the U.S. belt. Yeah. Moxley shows up with the U.S. belt. Oh, here's, like, Deonna Purrazzo with, like, the AAA, like, women's belt.
Yeah, and I wish they would have done a little bit more with Kenta, like, in AEW, because they did that. They had, like, a little bit with him, but then they moved that to New Japan Strong.
Yeah.
Which I think they wanted people to go watch
Watch
like,
New
on
Japan
New
Strong.
Japan Strong because that was like when they were first starting up.
Yeah. Or like
Which is
I kind
cool.
of think they also fumbled the ball a bit with the impact in their like stuff, but
yeah,
you know,
they're like crossover stuff.
yeah.
Which I mean, I thought it was cool. I wish they would have done more with it, of course. But
Yeah. But every company's gonna make mistakes.
yeah,
But I think they're doing good. Again, there's things that
yeah, like
that I don't agree with. WWE's doing really good. Again, there's things that I don't
they're-
agree with.
Yeah, so it's just there's always gonna be something that either you like and you don't like from each like show you watch. Like right now, like Hurt Syndicates.
Yeah.
In AEW, that's interesting.
That's interesting.
You never think you'd see like every Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin on an entire different promotion than WWE.
Yeah, unless you know, then you would know that they were on Impact.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I'll fill you in.
Yeah, see, that's so much knowledge I have. So.
Yeah. So, anyways, well, I'm gonna ask you, and I'm gonna answer first. Again, WWE or AEW, I'll answer first. I like wrestling, so I'm taking the cop out. You can't take the cop out.
I like AEW.
There we
Sorry,
go.
I don't keep up with WWE though. I watch the highlights. I'll watch like pay per views here. Then when we get together to watch pay per views.
Yeah.
But right now, like I watched AEW when it first started, and I just haven't stopped. Like I keep up with it. They're about to get that. They're about to put everything on Max here, next year.
Yeah, which is gonna be insane.
So I get to go back and watch all my favorite parts. You know.
Yeah, because I still have yet to watch Danielson versus Omega.
Dude, that we
Yeah.
have to get together to watch that. I would
Anyways.
watch together. Those I don't know. That's just my opinion on
Well,
it. You know.
let us know in the comments below how you feel about AEW. What complaints you have with AEW? What you like, what you don't like. What they could have done differently.
Yeah.
Let us know if he's wrong.
I'm wrong. It's okay. You can say it.
But at the end of the day, like, comment, share, subscribe, and if that check bounces, so do you.